What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to a new YouTube video. This one's going to be a little bit different because we're currently in Dubai. As you can see, the Burj is right behind me, and we'll be doing a little bit of 20-minute talk about our whole e-com experience and some tips and tricks you guys should know, and basically everything. We're going to go into everything e-com related. So starting with our whole introduction, Andre, can you introduce yourself? Your name, age, what you do, all that.
Yeah, so appreciate the intro, Andy. My name is Andre, as you heard. I've done over 7 figures in e-com, and I do branded dropshipping just like Andrew does. It's a very lucrative business model. You can take a business from 0 to 6 figures a month, 7 figures a month very quickly. I don't see any other business model scaling that fast. And yeah, it's just a little intro on what I do.
Yeah, exactly. You guys already know who I am, but my name is Andrew. I'm 19. We're both 19, actually. I'm in e-com, branded dropshipping, extremely lucrative business model. We actually just came back from China. You guys should be seeing that vlog very soon. If you guys haven't already, it should be up at the top of the screen. But we're going to do a little bit of a talk about, how we succeeded, got to this point, in our e-commerce journey. We're currently in Dubai. We just came back from touring warehouses in China. We've experienced a lot at the right page of 19. So, we're going to be talking about you guys how we did it. So I want to start off, your whole journey, Andre, because I want to ask you, from people starting out, how did you start out? Did you invest in community? What do you do?
Yeah, so I started last year. I was still in high school. Keep in mind, last year, 2023, I was still sitting in a desk. So it just goes to show you how fast your life could change. But I was in a ton of paid communities. I never really had a high ticket mentor or anything. So I feel like the most value for beginners is always in paid Discords, paid school groups, that kind of thing. So I was in a bunch of those. I kind of just took the information that I learned, decided to start running my own stores. I started with about $500, so I was pretty broke. But then started with TikTok organic, made a bit of money from that. I think I did 12K rev. And then from there, I kind of just reinvested all the profits into paid advertising, which is the most lucrative version of e-com in my opinion. And from there, I had my first 6-figure month about half a year into my journey. And then from there, it was just, a bunch of ups and downs, but now we're here.
Interesting. Yeah, you said something about organic dropshipping. Now, for people just starting out with a couple $100 like you did, do you recommend people to try out organic dropshipping? Because for me personally, I'm not a great fan, but I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, so the reason I kind of started with e-com in the first place and organic dropshipping was because I came from a background of content creation. So I was making a lot of TikToks. I was doing kind of UGC stuff, if you guys know what that is. I was also doing a lot of gaming content, but I had about 2 or 3 years under my belt, and it translated really well into e-com because I was like, wait, why don't I just take my skill set of creating videos and going viral and just translate it into monetizing it, So that's why I did it. But I think it's very lucrative if you know what you're doing and you do it well.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's too consistent because you'll have some, viral periods of times where your videos are going back to back viral and it'll last a couple of weeks, but then it fatigues very quickly and it's relatively high margin, but it's not very sustainable compared to paid ads.
Yeah, there's no advertising fees or anything. Yeah. For me, when it comes to organic drop shipping, it's a little bit, especially when you're starting out, it can be fine, but when you're a beginner, how are you supposed to know how to go viral and whatnot? That's the main point. And with paid advertising, you're already pushing people to your video. So I think it's way more easier starting off with paid advertising, because at the end of the day, you're probably going to transition to that. So might as well start with it, in my personal opinion. But yeah, when I started first, I kind of started with Etsy dropshipping, also dropshipping on Facebook Marketplace, because I didn't have any capital either. And with Facebook dropshipping, it was on Marketplace. They automatically push traffic to your pages. Same thing with Etsy, but they didn't really end up doing pretty well. And when I turned 18 finally, I tried Shopify dropshipping. I had a couple other business models in person, actually. I ran a pressure washing business. I kind of transitioned into dropshipping, And from there, started off with paid ads. I invested actually a lot of money into paid communities because in the past, I've been trying to run online businesses. Nothing really worked before dropshipping. Like I tried, the Facebook dropshipping, Etsy dropshipping, SMMA. I invested a lot of money into all those things, and I also knew that was also a big part of the process is investing in your education, because if you're just trying to do something and have no clue, there's no really point of doing it, because you could speed up your process 10 times if you invest in your education. So I think that's really, really important when you're starting out as a beginner, and it helped me speed up my process at least probably like 100x, to be honest.
Yes.
So I kind of want to go into the next topic with like dropshipping. Do you ever had any like big mistakes that you had with dropshipping to like avoid, for people watching the video?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like both of us can look back at all our stores that we've ran up in the past and been like, oh, we could have made a lot more money here, here, and here. But I'm not really going to get into specifics because it's a lot of content there. I would say like my biggest issue was getting complacent whenever I'd have like some sort of success. I don't know if you experienced the same, but like for my first couple 6-figure stores, like until very recently, like I was always running stuff up, and then I would just get very, very complacent, like lazy. I wouldn't put in the right work, and then it would just kind of fatigue. Not because I couldn't keep running it, but because of myself. Like I didn't put in the necessary work. So if a message to beginners, in my opinion, would be, even intermediates, honestly, that you're just seeing your first kind of parabolic scale, is like you want to ride the momentum and try and keeping it as much as possible. Because for me, like I was just getting that momentum. Like the 0 to 1 was very easy for me, and I did it over and over again. But to go from 1 to 100, like I was very complacent, so I just went back to 0. So that's kind of like my biggest dropshipping mistake up until recently. What about you?
Yeah, for me, it really came down to the creatives, because when I first started out, like I didn't really give too much of a crap about creatives. Like I ripped some of them, they didn't do too much. It was pretty boring creatives. And the creatives in dropshipping is by far the most important part. I can't stress that enough. If people don't see a good creative, they're not going to click on your website. And so there's no point of making a good website before you make good creatives. So always focus the most on creatives. And when I first started out, like I said, I was ripping creatives. I wasn't doing a good job with it. And, nowadays I really stress that, making really engaging creatives, great hooks, and, great CTAs, great bodies, all of that. And that's why it really helps with drop shipping. So when you first started out in drop shipping, I want to kind of go to your beginning. What was like your first taste of success? Like how many tries, how many failures did it take you? Because I know a lot of people watching this video, they never had a success in drop shipping. They're wondering how long, it takes. So I want to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, I mean, everyone's journey is a bit different. I was very fortunate in the sense that I had like my first 6-figure month, like half a year in, like I mentioned. But yeah, that was like my first bit of success. But it wasn't just like a, like a one and done thing. Like I had to try over and over and over again. So I took all that capital that I got from organic dropshipping, which I think was around like 3-4K in profit. And I think I tested like 5 to 10 products before finding my big break. Now, sometimes like I've heard stories of people even testing 100 products and it doesn't work. And then the 101st product works. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen to everybody. Like I don't even think in my career I've tested 100 products. That's crazy. Definitely because you're testing things wrong and you're not putting in the right quality out there. But yeah, that was kind of my first taste of success, but it took a while to get there. Like it took 5 to 6 months before I hit that. Yeah.
When I first started out, I believe it took me so many product tests. I remember I'd come home from my pressure washing, business. I'd be knocking doors every day. I'd come home, test a product for the next day, and it took about 2 to 3 months for me to hit my first 1K day. And that was, constant effort, testing one product a day. And, it really adds up. And then for me to hit my first 10K day actually came around 6 to 7 months after. But, like you said, everyone's journey is very, very different. It all depends on your skill set, how fast you're learning. But also, when it comes down to, like, you first starting it, me personally, I started when I was doing my pressure washing business. I was very busy. And, I came home at the end of the day, the late hours of the day, 10, 11 p.m. I'll stay up for hours and hours on end till like 3, 4 in the morning, and make stores, launch them as ads. For you, when you started out, what was your kind of position? Like, did you stay home at all? Were you in school? Were you working a job? Like,
yeah, I was doing everything, man. I was in school, I think 8 hours a day. Then I had work. Even on the weekends, I was working. I had sports. I had my own side hustles going on. So I was like reselling clothes, shoes. I was working. Like, I was also moderating e-com discords for like free memberships in the paid communities. That's how broke I was at one point. I was like, just give me free subscription. I'll moderate your entire Discord. Yeah, I'd say that was very worth it. But yeah, I didn't have a lot of time, and I actually had to sacrifice like my trajectory in school for dropshipping. So like literally I would stay up dropshipping overnight, and then in school I would like just sleep. And I'm not saying that's good financial advice. You don't have to necessarily do that. But
tell us about that. Like in school, I remember you saying that you're very high up in the class, but you decided to change like your, whatever it is.
Yeah, so like growing up, I was always that kid that never really had to study for good grades. Like I was like at the top of the class. Like I was a very decorated student. I had literally like letters from the governor of the state.
Yeah, his boy was supposed to go to Harvard or something.
Like I was definitely like on track to be able to do all those things and like have a great career in the Ivy Leagues and stuff, and excel in school. But yeah, I just kind of realized like junior year kind of that I was like, I know school's not for me. I'd also gone through like a big personal moment that kind of brought that trajectory down. But eventually I was like, wait, instead of focusing on school to work a job, like why would I do that when my goal is to own the business in the first place?
Right.
And that doesn't come through like a degree. So that's when I stopped focusing on school. I thought it was absolute bullshit. Like I have my high school degree at my crib. I don't even use that at all, like at all in the slightest. But yeah, I was a very well decorated student. Had like a very like a paradigm shift where I was like, damn, like this is not for me at all. It's not the route that I should be taking. And then I started my own businesses, and end of senior year, it kind of started taking off.
Yeah, for me, that like paradigm shift came around sophomore year. I was around 16. My parents were pressuring me to kind of look at the degrees that I want to go into college. Now I was looking at this paper, and on the list I saw all these different degrees, and turns out I didn't want to do any of it, so I had to find another way out, and that turned out to be online business and various other businesses that I was in. So from that point that you were in school, you were doing drop shipping, doing all these different things, trying to find a way out. How has your life changed from that point? Like, now you're traveling all over the place. You're going to China, you're going to Dubai. Your life is very different. Like, what's your normal like day in the life now compared to where you were?
Well, I mean, my day in the life at first was like school, work, side hustle, dropshipping, whatever. So it was very like repetitive. And I do have kind of like repetitive cycles in my current life, like for example, going to the gym, but it's all to like advance, right? But now it's like each day is a new day.
Yeah.
So, like I feel like you can experience the same thing. We hang out almost every day back home with our e-com group, but like each day is a new day. And like it's super exciting to wake up in the morning and just see what's ahead, see what
politics. You have purpose.
We have a lot more purpose, instead of just being a drone, like doing the same things over and over again. But life's completely different. It's great. Like instead of having to wake up at a certain time, you get to wake up at a certain time.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like the difference in that. Like obviously don't wake up at 3 p.m. every day. Don't do that. But I could do that if I really wanted to. But I get to wake up early. I have a reason to wake up early and do all the things that I want to do, instead of having to wake up at like X time in the morning and having to end school at this time and then having to go to work at this time. Like I don't have to abide by anyone else's schedule. I get to create my own. Mm-hmm. So each day looks very different. I get to travel whenever I want, travel for free because of dropshipping. So yeah, what about you?
Yeah, my life has changed a lot. Especially when I was first starting out, I was, during my pressure washing business, I literally woke up. I'd wake up 7 a.m., pick up my friend because we were business partners. We'd go to various streets and knock doors every single day. It would be 100 Fahrenheit out in, upstate New York, and we'd get all these clients, and it'd be very, very, very stressful. And very annoying because you're sitting out in the sun all day, and you're not eating much. It's just painful. And you get home at like 9-10 p.m. It's been a long ass day, and you have to sit on the computer and, you know, trying to figure out your online business. Because, you know, when you first start out, it's kind of like you don't really know what you're doing at all. You just gotta figure it out, and that comes with trial and error and a lot of education. And, you know, that was really I was really focused on. So I spent the first portion of my day on, you know, my physical business, and then the last half of my day on my online business. So now, basically, I wake up when I'm living, you know, in Miami. I wake up, go hit the gym around 9-10 a.m., you know, maybe hit the sauna, calm little sauna, doesn't hurt. Then I'd go home, make some breakfast, and then basically go start my work day. I'd go ahead and work, you know, for the rest of the day until 8-9 p.m. and then maybe I'd grab some dinner with, you know, him and some other people. But that's kind of my whole day. You know, nothing's really changed. I'm still working every day. I'm just working on different things. So that's kind of like the main thing that changed is the work that I am doing. And, you know, when it comes to your whole work ethic, do you think that's really important? Do you really believe, you know, like, work harder or, you know, work smarter? That's what I really want to hear.
Yeah, that's a really good question, because like I said, I was always that kid that never really had to study to get the grades and stuff. So I'm always a firm believer in, like, it's more about the inputs that you put in to get you the outputs. Like, for example, that crypto kid that puts $1,000 into a coin and it launches to 10 million. He didn't work hard to get to the 10 million. He just worked smarter.
Right.
He analyzed or he knew, or maybe it's luck. But to be honest, like, you need to have a combination of both.
Yeah.
Like, if you work very efficiently, like in the quality of your work, and you work very hard on those things every single day, you'll be the best version of yourself, guaranteed. If I had to choose one or the other, I think working smarter is the best, because it's about the quality of your inputs. Like, you could work 18 hours building a Shopify store.
Yeah.
That's working hard. That's not smart.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. And the way to work smarter is, you know, optimize your inputs, and also don't invest in your education. I know I can't stress this enough, but you know, if you invest your education and, you know, you get better at these things, you can do them faster, do them more efficiently, and that's really, really important when you start out, because, you know, you're gonna be testing a lot. For me, it took around 30 to 50 products to find my first winner, and my winner was like 1K a day, which is not even that great, but, you know, it's gonna take a lot of work, and you have to work a lot smarter, and, you know, don't just like do it and then like try to figure it out. Invest in your education. It's very, very important. So Andre, the next topic I want to go into is like a lot of beginners, you know, struggle with this one thing, and, you know, could you describe that one thing that we always talk about? And
yeah.
No,
Y'all want to give up too early.
Wait. I lost my train of thought.
It's one thing.
Alright, hold on. Nah, fuck that.
Alright, bro.
What do you want to talk about next? Yo, so Andre, like, how do you like in Dubai so far?
Dubai's lit. It's gonna be so lit.
Alright, we're keeping that in.
No. Dubai's amazing. I mean, it's very comparable to Miami, because it's like another one of those like big cities.
Yeah.
But like, what I'll say is, like, everything's very spread out and it's a lot hotter. But to be honest, like, the money out here is disgusting. Like, it's
so much money. So much money.
Like, we have like this parking spot where we're staying, and it's like right next to like a Pagani.
Yeah.
And there's like a Bugatti next to it, like 3 SF90s, Rolls Royces everywhere. Like, it's absolutely insane here. The amount of money here is crazy. But you could also say the same thing about Miami. But to be honest, like, I really like it. It's very beautiful. Like, aesthetically, it's a lot better than Miami, in my opinion, in terms of like the city. But I don't see myself living here because everything's super spread out and it's super hot.
Super fabricated too.
Yeah, it feels like you're in Disneyland. But I could stay here for like a month or two.
I wouldn't mind it at all. Yeah, it's super spread out. I like Miami more just because it's more tight knit.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many more e-com guys that I at least know.
Yeah.
You know, it's just one like little area, especially in Miami. And also, what was your experience with China? Like, did anything shift your mind with like e-com, like how the whole business works? Because we saw like the factory. We didn't see the factories, but we saw the warehouses, how everything operates. You know, what was like your best experience from that?
Yeah, I mean, seeing it firsthand is a lot different. Number one, I have no clue how my cost of goods are that cheap with all the people that are working. Like, they gotta pay the bills. Like, everything's
they
really
hid the
cheap.
children.
That's crazy. But yeah, no, I mean, there was one supplier tour that we went on that was very impactful because the owner of the company, he has like 200 employees. He went like step by step with me inside like the facility. And he was like, okay, this is the first thing. This is the second thing. This is the third thing. So now I know every single part of the business. If I wanted to go start my own fulfillment company, I very confidently think I could.
Yeah.
But now I like get to, it's a lot of leverage in the negotiations when you know exactly how the internal operations work. And like, you also get to meet the people that you've been talking to for over a year and you've paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to. And like, the relationships that you get from China is like way better because now we have more winners than we can even like count on our hands and toes. You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. What about you?
We went straight to the source.
Honestly.
You know, visiting all these warehouses. First of all, we got treated like royalty. Me and him love China. Super safe. Culture's great. You know, very unique. Tested about a lot of stuff, like a lot of unique food. My friend ate a pigeon head. We tried like frog, like all this like interesting food. Yeah, I don't know why you didn't, but it was actually pretty good. But you know, it was a very unique experience, but I couldn't like recommend it enough to go ahead and visit China if you guys have like the time or, you know, like the capital to do so, because that changed my perspective about e-commerce.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, seeing the actual stock in the warehouses, seeing how everything operates, you know, you're more trusted with your supplier. And, you know, at the end of the day, you're building a better relationship with them because you end up getting better COGS. So it's really, really important. I couldn't stress it enough. You guys have some success within e-commerce. I highly recommend you guys go check out China. It's a great experience. I recommend it to everyone. So we kind of want to wrap it up here. And I want to ask you one more question. If you had to ask your old self when you're first starting out, what's like one piece of advice that you'd give them?
For me personally, it's a complacency thing. I always tell this to people, like, I could have been in like the multi seven figures, like if I had just rode the momentum a lot better and understood the importance of like self-education and investing in it, and talking to like higher level people. Like if I just had like the right mindset going into it, I would have been more monumentally successful than I am now. So that's like the one thing I'd tell myself, and like anybody out there that's kind of in the same position as me, that like they tend to get very lazy, or they tend to like get very complacent when they have some sort of success, or maybe they just like have no success yet and they already want to give up. It's like you have to be very persistent with it, and you have to always be in the student mindset. The second you think you're the master, that's when like you plateau. So you always have to be like, I'm doing more revenue than ever right now, and I still feel like a brokey because like I understand how much more there is to do, and you know, that's kind of the thing I tell myself.
Yeah, for me, I kind of agree with that, is that, you know, just don't give up, because when I was first starting out, like testing these products every single day, like you'd see no success, and it would be so demotivating. But, you know, if you continue to do what you do every single day and put in the work every single day, you will eventually hit success. And I can guarantee that, because if you never quit, you will never lose. You just simply fail and then retry again, and then you eventually hit that success. So that's kind of what I'd tell myself. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of the whole video right here. Hope you guys did enjoy, learn something from it. You know, we're gonna go ahead and enjoy the rest of our trip in Dubai, and I'll see you guys next time in another video. Peace.